So I'm here with Chris McCarthy. So would you like to introduce yourself to the camera?
Hi everyone. Yeah, I'm Chris. I commentate on the Formula 2, Formula 3 championships, as well as 24-hour Le Mans. But yeah, I'm mostly known, I guess, for doing commentating, and I'm the founder of Setting Purple Sectors as well.
Cool. So what first got you into motorsport and what made you want to pick commentary instead of like any other roles?
I mean, I first got into commentary. Well, I was first got into motorsport rather in like 2006, I guess I'll say, when I first started going karting, and then I began racing properly in 2008. And it was a bit. I wouldn't say I always wanted to do motorsport as a kid. I was more football, which I think is quite
Yeah.
a popular popular choice. But yeah, I just had a go in a kart once, absolutely loved it, and it went from there really. And then commentary kind of happened by accident. Yeah, I had a seizure at a track, which meant I couldn't race anymore. And after, I couldn't really, I didn't really see a way for me to stay in the sport. So I'd come up with an idea that instead of just walking away from it, why didn't I try filming it with all the equipment I had available to me at college? And yeah, sort of how it all began, really. I was filming races, commentating on them for the edit, and I loved the commentating side. I really loved it. I used to love listening to Will Buxton when he did GP2 and GP3, and Alex Yates when he eventually did it as well. And I used to love listening to. There was a commentator called Ken Walker in karting who was like the Murray Walker of karting, and I used to love just sitting and listening to him. So I'd even wake up during the night if there was a race abroad and go down upstairs and watch it. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
for me how it all started really. And I guess I had an inspiration for it which I didn't know about for a long
Mhm.
time, and then I eventually discovered it.
Yeah. So it must have been quite hard having to stop racing after that through like no choice of your own. So how was it to like refine motivation to do stuff like that?
I mean, it was very hard at first. It was like my life had been taken away from me because it was all I wanted to do was become a racing driver. So coming to terms with it was really difficult, but I think the filming side of it really helped it. I'd say to anyone who has to stop racing for whatever reason, you don't think you have to walk away from it. There are multiple ways to stay involved, be it through mechanicking, broadcasting, social media, working directly for tracks in terms of being scrutineers or stewards. So, yeah, there's loads of ways to stay involved. I've thankfully found one of those ways. And
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't really look back since. And being in the karting paddock for as long as I was, a lot of the people were familiar faces, be it I used to race against them and now they're doing other jobs or they were the same staff. So, yeah, that was, I guess, the main reason.
Yeah. So could you give us like a bit of an insight of what a weekend looks like during like while you commentating for anyone that like is interested and wants to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, uh, I guess the weekend starts on Monday.
Yeah.
You have to do a lot of preparation uh, to make sure you're completely up to speed with everything in terms of the track, the drivers, teams, any statistics that you can give an audience that they wouldn't know themselves. So you have to be more knowledgeable than the drivers about their own careers, if that makes sense. If you can say say they've achieved a bit of history and they never knew they were going to do that, then that's always a big win, I'd say. And you have to be even more knowledgeable than the championship organizers themselves. So yeah, I think that takes a lot of time, but Friday is usually when I go in. If we're talking F1 weekends, I go in for practice, commentate practice, and then we do qualifying after that. And then after qualifying is where the work begins in the evening in the hotel, just making sure I've got everything prepared. I make grid sheets, which I write all over them. And so Friday night is doing that. And then after the sprint race, say it's the same thing. Go back to the hotel. A lot of work on spreadsheets and notes and grid sheets, and then make sure I'm ready again for Sunday. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's just talking on the microphone. If people think it's that,
Yeah.
they'll be seeing it wrong. It's a lot of work in between to make sure you're fully prepared.
Yeah, so it's pretty full on. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Uh, you have to make it that though, no
Mhm.
one's forcing you to go and do all of this stuff. But when you pick up the microphone and you've got everything in front of you you want, you'll just sound more confident and you'll
Yeah.
be better to listen to. So that's kind of why you got to do it. It's more of a safety net than anything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, so I think this next thing is like kind of interesting because I think I'd struggle with this, but do you ever find it difficult to stay neutral when commentating? Say like your favorite driver against like
Yeah.
someone else, and like is it always difficult to stay neutral? Because I think I'd definitely struggle with that.
It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of drivers I've known for many years, and then I've got to know their parents, and seeing them do well is really nice. But you have to take that away, that side away completely. I think one thing that actually helped me is I got the experience to work in the stewards room,
Mhm.
race directors room at a European karting race, and for that. I knew a lot of the drivers there, particularly the British drivers, but I was being forced to give them penalties, which they
Yeah.
didn't know I was doing. So yeah, that experience actually helped because it kind of forced me to be neutral, and I was able to take that with me into commentating as well. So yeah, obviously you're very happy if a driver you particularly know wins, but you've got to find the stories for every driver, which means you'll be happy whoever wins. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's you in the paddock, you'll speak to some drivers more than others, just naturally.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's hard to say it's impossible.
Yeah. So how do you deal with the pressure of being live, and especially if you can remember like the first time you were live? Like how was it?
Yeah, the first time I was live was at a kart race, and I honestly didn't start for about 15 minutes. But it is a lot of pressure, particularly when I went to F1 the first time going live. I was absolutely terrified, honestly, like hearing the music, that they
Mhm.
play in your ears and having the countdown. But and once you're into it, you kind of forget that you're live, really.
Mhm.
We do all the commentating at F1 in Biggin Hill, which is F1's Media and Technology Centre. So we're not actually at the track. So I think that almost helps in a way because you're closed off from everything and you can just focus on what you're doing. But yeah, it definitely is a lot of adrenaline, 100%, especially going into a big race like the F3 season finale I did, where Fornaroli won on the last lap, last corner.
Mhm.
That was, yeah, we were going into that really, really pumped. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
Yeah, because I've seen how chaotic it is. Because I was in the broadcast tower at Brands Hatch once, and I was just like
Mm,
having a look. They just let me sit in. I was like, chaotic. I was like, there was so many things going
yeah,
on. I could not focus on one thing, and I didn't know how they were doing it because they were just getting fed all this information. I was like, oh my god, I wouldn't know which to
yeah.
say.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a team effort.
Mhm.
I'm very lucky to work with some really good people, and you've got to rely on each other really to help each other through. Even if either of you make mistakes, just be able to pick stuff up, or so that you can focus on different things. One of you focuses purely on the race, and other one is more analytical. So that really helps when you're in that position, 100%. And then working with producers as well to make sure they're there to give you any information you need. But it takes experience. It's not something you can just jump into and be really good at, I'd say, straight away. The more experience you get, the better. And I've been doing it like 12 years now, and I still think I've got a bit to learn. So
Yeah, yeah. So, what is your favorite moment that you've commentated on, and also like, where's your favorite place that commentary has taken you?
oh, okay. Well, so the favorite moment was 100% was Leo Fornaroli winning the F3
Yeah.
championship on the last lap, last corner. He was such a nice guy
Mhm.
in the paddock, and he was kind of the nearly driver in terms of never winning, and so seeing him pull off that move to win the championship, despite he'd never actually won a race, was incredible. And an Italian driver winning the championship on home soil, making history. And his former engineer passed away about 2 weeks before that race, or a week before, and he had a video of them going around Parabolica corner, and then that's where he made the move, and he dedicated his championship to his sort of the engineer who passed away. So that for me all round was
Mhm.
the best moment. In terms of the best place, I used to do commentating for Gran Turismo, and we got to go to Tokyo. And I'd say that's
Oh, that's
100% the
cool.
best place it's taken me to. I was there with Jimmy Broadbent, and it was absolutely amazing. So somewhere I wouldn't have gone actually if it weren't for work.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, those
So
are two. I remember watching that race, and it was incredible. And then I remember seeing like everything on Instagram about the engineer. It just like made it even more special. So I couldn't
yeah,
even imagine like how he felt, but yeah.
yeah. No, I think yeah, I might be wrong. He has not talked about that since, but I think personally the engineer, what happened with the engineer almost gave him more, almost gave him sort of more confidence that day. You know,
Yeah.
because I think he really wanted to do it for that reason. And when he saw the opportunity at the last corner, he just went for it. Would he have gone for that a year or a few months earlier? I'm not so sure, but I think that
Yeah.
happening really inspired him because I think he was ready to dedicate the title to the engineer. So, yeah, I think all of that definitely played a part in what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah. So as someone who's like quite experienced now, you say you've done it for 12 years. Have you got any like advice for anyone that would want to do something like commentary within motorsport or just sport in general?
Yeah, 100%. I'd say just get as much advice as you can. Really, uh, I I still get a lot of advice now, and and be your own worst enemy and well, your own worst critic. Sorry,
Mhm.
you know, you don't just go in, do a race, and then forget about it to the next one. If you're going in to do a race, commentate it, watch it back, get feedback from either the production team or family members, and yeah, the I used to get loads of advice from my dad, and I still do, and he was given me a lot of feedback in the early days. A lot of things I had to
Mhm.
change, a lot of things I was doing wrong. Now it's not as much, but there is still some things. So yeah, I'd say you have to be your own worst critic really, and don't take don't look at YouTube comments at all. So I think that's a good tip as well. I think you can if you go looking on social media, YouTube, Reddit, things like that, you can find yourself making changes for someone else, and then you can sort of go in all sorts of different directions. So
Yeah.
I think just focus on what you're doing, and as long as the people you're working with are happy with it, then that's absolutely fine. For the fans, people are never always going to like it, and the quicker you accept that, the better you'll be.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you got like a specific hero in motorsport, whether it's like a commentator or just anyone?
I mean, Lewis Hamilton for me was mine growing up, 100%.
Yeah.
I started racing in 2008, so it was quite a good year.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that race in Brazil where he won the title. So, and I got to see him once at Brands Hatch, I think a year later. So that for me, 100%. And in terms of broadcasting, like I said, Will Buxton was one of I'd say the
Yeah.
first people I got really inspired by. I think a lot of people did, but I used to absolutely love listening to him.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'd say he was a big hero, I guess. And
Yeah.
now being able to be in a position of working almost alongside him at times has been yeah, it's been a surreal experience.
Yeah. Have you ever worked directly with Will Buxton?
No. I haven't worked directly with him, but I've been with him
Yeah.
at F1, and he's been giving me advice, and that's something I never thought would happen. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I did work directly with him. I used to do a thing called MSTV Live, which was a motorsport news station, and I was one of four hosts for that. And then Will had his own show, so he used to
Mhm.
come in and do his show, and we'd do the news part. So, I guess in a way, I was very close to working with him.
Yeah. That must be pretty cool working with like your heroes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, really cool to do that. I got to commentate with Alex Jakes on pre-season testing last year as well, and that was pretty surreal as well,
Yeah.
actually. So, and he's been a massive help for me in getting to where I am. So
Mhm.
that was a really nice moment to be able to do that. And I announced I was doing the I was taking his place as Formula 2 commentator that day on air. So yeah, that's definitely a moment I'll never forget.
Yeah. So what is like another goal in commentary or like your final goal, or are you kind of already there?
I've got a couple of goals, I guess. One is certainly to do F1 on a full-time basis, but my other one is, and it might be a little bit, you know, a bit obscure, but I'd love to commentate the Winter Olympics. It's just always been a dream of mine. I've loved it since I was a kid. I always watch it religiously, and I think having that experience to go to a Winter Olympics, be there amongst the atmosphere, commentate on some of the sports live would be that would be a dream come true for me. I did get to work on Paris 2024, and that was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, albeit I was doing it remotely from studios here, but I think yeah, the main goal, if I could get to a Winter Olympics, be there, that would be cool. I always know when the next one is, and it's always I'm almost counting it down in my head to try and
Yeah.
make sure I've got it. So yeah, it's going to be a little wait now, but hopefully the next one I'm there.
Yeah. I fully agree with the Winter Olympics because it's one of my favorite things. I love the figure skating. Um,
Okay.
and I'm planning on going to the World Championships next year in
Oh wow.
Finland to do some media there. Because like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
figure skating is my favorite. Like I love a lot of the Winter Olympics, but the figure skating is my favorite. So
yeah.
I
Okay,
would
that's
like
cool.
I had such FOMO watching the Olympics this year and like not
Yeah,
being there. I was like, I just want to be there because it looks so
yeah,
much
yeah.
fun.
Oh no, we're the same there. I love any time trials based sports.
Yeah.
Obviously bobsleigh, luge, skeleton, alpine skiing, yeah, and then also snowboard cross and ski cross as
Mhm.
well, where they race. So anything that has time trial involved is something I really really want to
Yeah.
do. I did a lot of practice commentary for it over the winter as well, in the hope that it would lead to something. But even just doing practice commentary on it was
Yeah.
so fun. So, and that's another bit of advice I'd give to people is do just practice commentating, regardless of whether you have work coming in or not, and that will just help you get better, 100%. And don't just turn the stream on and commentate. Do all the notes for a couple of days before, so you go through the whole routine of it. So yeah, I'd say that's another bit of advice.
Yeah. So my last question, and it's a question I ask everyone, but I've tailored it a bit because usually I ask drivers. But if you could be driven on a hot lap around any driver and around any track, who would it be and where would it be?
Oh wow, okay, that's a
Yeah,
good
it makes
question.
people think.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say I'd go for the Nordschleife probably, just because
Yeah,
you get longer time in the car.
yeah,
So, and it looks a really cool track. I got to go there for the 24 hours once, and it was absolutely amazing. 100% recommend. And
yeah,
if one driver could take me around, I'd have to be Lewis Hamilton.
yeah.
100%.
Got to
Yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah. It's got to be. So, yeah, Lewis Hamilton at the Nordschleife. I'll go for that. I
Yeah,
don't think he's. I'm not sure if he's ever driven it, but um, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure at some point, yes.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I always say Vettel because he was my favorite while I was growing
Oh,
up.
okay.
And
Yeah.
I can't decide on a track. Like my favorite track that I've been to is Brands Hatch, and like being driven around there would be so cool. But
Yeah.
like I've got my
That's
driver secured, but I don't know my track. But
yeah. Fair. No, the other tracks are really like a Red Bull Ring. That's really
yeah,
nice. And Mugello is probably the most beautiful place I've been to in terms
mhm,
of racetrack. So I'd say if I had to go for a second choice, I'd probably go there because it's
yeah,
absolutely amazing there. So
mhm,
yeah, that would be a good one as well.
yeah. I need to go to some abroad tracks because I've been to quite a few in the UK now, and I
Yeah.
got driven around Alton Park and Donington Park,
Right.
by Janetta in a Janetta,
Right.
which
Okay.
was oh my god, it was insane. But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely need to start like adventuring out the country and going to some other.
Yeah. Oh, there's some lovely tracks. That you can get to. Spa's a really nice one to
Mhm.
go to. Um, Hungary is really nice as well, just for the what you can do around it. But my favorite is 100% Red Bull Ring. It takes a while to get there from the airport, but it's worth the journey. And
Yeah,
then Mugello is just in Tuscany. It's so beautiful there. So yeah, they're the two I definitely recommend going to. And Red Bull Ring, you can see a lot of the track from wherever you're sat. So that's why it's another really good one as well. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, that is all my questions. So thank you for coming on my podcast and answering them.
no worries at all. Thanks for
Thank
having me.
you.
No, it's been really
Thank
good.
you.